24 hours. That is all it takes for a single dandelion to go from a yellow flower to a white puffball holding up to 200 seeds, and every one of those seeds can fly the length of 2 football fields on a light breeze. Picture it. It is Saturday morning. You walk out with your coffee, the grass is still cool and wet against your bare feet, and you feel good about your lawn for about 4 seconds. Then you see them, those fat yellow heads, scattered across the green like somebody flicked a paintbrush at it overnight. And here's the part nobody in the garden aisle will tell you. That floor associate who handed you the cheap bottle of weed killer last spring sold you a product designed to make the leaves look dead while leaving the engine of the plant completely alive underground. The lawn care industry does not make money when your dandelions die once. They make money when they come back. And they always come back, don't they? You spray, they yellow, you feel like a winner for about a week. Then they are right back in the exact same spot, fatter than before, and now there are 3 where there used to be 1. Most people attack dandelions the wrong way. They mow over them thinking they cut the problem down. They yank the tops off by hand, thinking they pulled them out. They blast them with a contact spray that burns the green and never touches the root. And nothing ever changes year after year, the same yellow invasion, the same wasted Saturday. So here is what I am going to show you. 2 completely different battles with this weed. First, how to kill the dandelions that are already staring at you right now, fast, in a single day, the right way, so they do not crawl back. Second, how to handle a lawn that is so far gone it looks more yellow than green, which is a totally different problem with a totally different fix. And then at the very end, the one approach this entire video was built around, the thing that means you never have to do any of this again. I am not going to name it yet. You will know it when we get there. But let me ask you something first and be honest. You have always believed that pulling a dandelion out by hand gets rid of it, right? What if that is the single fastest way to multiply them? Part 1 is the dandelion. You can see right now the one yellow head in the middle of your green, because this is the version that drives you crazy, and it is the version almost everybody fights wrong. So let me tell you what you instinctively do. You see that flower, you bend down, you grab the leaves at the base, and you pull, and it feels great. It comes up with a little bit of root. You toss it in the bucket. You feel like you won. I get it. It is satisfying. But here is what is actually happening beneath your feet. A dandelion does not grow from a thin little root like grass. It grows from a single thick taproot, a carrot-shaped anchor that drives straight down as deep as 10 to 15 inches in established plants. When you pull the top, that root snaps off somewhere in the first 2 or 3 inches of soil. And this is the cruel part. The dandelion taproot can regenerate a whole new plant from a fragment as small as 1 inch. So when you snap it, you have not killed anything. You have pruned it. You have taken one growing point, and sometimes you trigger 2 or 3 new crowns to sprout from the piece left behind. Here is the truth nobody says out loud. Hand pulling a mature dandelion is not weeding. It is cloning. So if you are going to kill the one in front of you today, you do it in the right order, from the simplest method to the most serious. The simplest, if the soil is soft and wet, is to use a proper tool, not your fingers. A dandelion weeder, that long forked steel tool that costs about $12, slides down beside the taproot so you can lever the entire thing out in one piece. The trick is to water the area or wait until the morning after rain, because in moist soil the taproot pulls free at 10 or 11 inches instead of snapping at 2. Get the whole white carrot out, tip and all, and that plant is genuinely gone. The next step up, for the dandelion already throwing a flower, is a targeted herbicide. But the kind matters enormously. You want a selective broadleaf weed killer containing a blend of active ingredients, the ones with names ending in the chemistry that targets broadleaf plants while leaving grass untouched. Here is the mechanism that makes it work, and it is the whole game. That kind of herbicide is a systemic. It does not burn the leaf on contact. It gets absorbed through the leaf surface and travels down inside the plant's own plumbing all the way into that 10-inch taproot, and it kills the plant from the bottom up. That is why a good systemic looks slower at first. For the first day, the dandelion might even look fine. By 24 hours, the leaves start to twist and curl. Within 48 to 72 hours, the whole thing yellows, browns, and collapses, root and all. Timing is everything here. You spray when the temperature is between 60 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit on a day with no rain coming for at least 24 hours, because the plant needs to be actively growing and the chemical needs time to move inside before water washes it off. Spray a dandelion at 50 degrees and half asleep, and you waste your money. And if you want the 24-hour knockdown the title promises, here is the move the pros use. You hit the plant with that systemic, and for the visible satisfaction, you mix your approach by spraying in the early evening, so the chemical works overnight while the plant is still pulling moisture. By the time you walk out with your coffee the next morning, the leaves are already curling and going limp. The plant is dying from the inside, not just scorched on the surface. Now understand what is at stake if you keep doing the snap and pull. Every broken taproot is a plant that comes back in 2 to 3 weeks, stronger, with multiple crowns. You spend the money twice, you spend the Saturday twice, and that one tidy spot you were so proud of becomes the densest patch on your whole lawn by August. One universal prevention tip to close this out, and it costs you nothing. Never, ever let a dandelion reach the white puffball stage. The moment you see yellow, you have a window of about a day or two before that flower converts to seed. Knock the heads off, bag them, do not mow them, because mowing a seed head just launches the parachute seeds across your entire yard. Decapitate first, kill the root second. And look, if this is the kind of thing nobody tells you in the garden aisle, the stuff they leave out because the slow fix does not sell another bottle, do me one quick favor and subscribe. That is the whole point of this channel. Every single video pulls back the curtain on one of these lawn problems and shows you the mechanism, not just the product. One click and you will never get sold the wrong bottle again. And if you want to go even deeper than what a video can hold, I put together a complete field level system and a guide called the Complete Amish Yard Field Edition. It covers everything from soil preparation to seasonal lawn care, the way old order growers have done it for generations without the chemicals the industry depends on to keep you coming back. It is $97 and you can find it linked in the description below. If you are serious about owning your yard instead of just managing it, that guide is where the full blueprint lives. Now let me get back to it. Part 2 is a completely different animal, because now we are not talking about the one dandelion you can pick out. We are talking about the lawn that has been losing the war for years, the lawn that is more yellow than green, where the dandelions are not visitors anymore, they are the residents. And here is the thesis, the blunt one. If your lawn is covered in dandelions, the dandelions are not your problem. They are the symptom. Your real problem is bare, weak, compacted soil, and until you fix that, you can spray every weekend until October, and the weeds will keep coming because the ground itself is rolling out the welcome mat. Let me show you the mechanism, because this is the part that changes everything. Dandelion seeds are everywhere, all the time. They blow in from 3 streets over. But a seed cannot establish in thick, healthy turf. It physically cannot reach the soil, and it cannot get the sunlight it needs to sprout. Dandelions are pioneer plants in nature. Their entire job is to colonize disturbed, bare, compacted ground where grass has failed. That long taproot is built to punch through hard, oxygen-starved soil that grass roots cannot penetrate. So when you see a sea of yellow, your lawn is telling you something specific. It is telling you the soil is compacted, it is telling you the grass is thin, and it is telling you there are open gaps of bare dirt where sunlight is hitting the ground. Most people see a weedy lawn and think they have a weed problem, but actually they have a thin grass problem wearing a weed costume. So here is how you take back a lawn that is genuinely overrun, and we go from the cheapest, simplest move to the one a professional would reach for. Method 1 is the cheapest, and it is the foundation everything else sits on. Mow higher. Most people cut their grass far too short, scalping it down to 1 or 2 inches because they think it means mowing less often. But short grass lets sunlight hit the soil, and sunlight on bare soil is the exact trigger a dandelion seed needs to germinate. Raise your mower deck to 3.5 inches. Tall grass shades the soil surface, drops the ground temperature, and starves those waiting seeds of the light they need to sprout. This one change costs you nothing, and it is the single most powerful weed prevention tool you own. Taller grass also grows deeper roots, which makes the turf itself stronger competition. Method 2 is to feed the grass so it can win the fight on its own. A weak, hungry lawn cannot crowd out a weed. So in the early autumn, around September, you put down a balanced lawn fertilizer at the rate on the bag, roughly 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet, and you do it again in late spring. Here is the mechanism. A well-fed lawn grows thicker and denser. The grass plants tiller out sideways and knit together into a closed canopy, and a closed canopy leaves no gap for a seed to find soil. You are not killing dandelions with fertilizer. You are building a wall they cannot get through. For a lawn that is already thin, this is also the moment to overseed. After you have cleared the worst of the weeds, you spread fresh grass seed across the thin areas, 3 to 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet for most cool season grasses. Keep it watered for 2 to 3 weeks, and you fill those bare gaps with grass before the dandelions can fill them with tap roots. Whoever gets to the bare soil first wins, so make sure it is your grass. Method 3 is the one a professional brings out for a lawn that is genuinely lost, and it is the one that fixes the root cause literally underground. You core aerate, and then you apply a pre-emergent. Core aeration is a machine that pulls thousands of little plugs of soil out of your lawn, and it costs around $60 to $100 to rent for a day, or a similar price to hire out. Here is why it matters. Remember that dandelions thrive in compacted soil because their taproot can punch through where grass roots suffocate. Aeration relieves that compaction. It opens up the soil, lets oxygen and water reach the grass roots, and suddenly the grass can compete on equal footing. Then, in the early spring, when soil temperatures are climbing toward 55 degrees, you lay down a pre-emergent herbicide. This is the specialist weapon, and the mechanism is beautiful. A pre-emergent does not kill an existing plant. It creates a thin chemical barrier in the top layer of soil that stops seeds from successfully germinating. It interrupts the seed the moment it tries to push out its first root. So while everyone else is spraying the dandelions that already grew, the pro is stopping next year's entire generation from ever existing. Aerate to fix the cause, pre-emergent to seal the door, and a lawn that was 60% yellow turns back to green over one full season. Understand the catastrophic version of getting this wrong. If you ignore the soil and just keep spraying the tops, you can spend 2 or 3 years and hundreds of dollars on herbicide and end up with the same weedy lawn because you have been mowing the lawn while leaving the factory running underground. Fix the soil or fight forever. Part 3, prevention. And this is it. This is the thing I sealed at the start. The entire reason this video exists. Because everything up to now has been you reacting to a problem that already arrived, and this is how you make sure it never arrives again. The single universal action that prevents both problems, the one dandelion and the overrun lawn, is this. Build and maintain a thick, dense lawn canopy. And there is one move that does it better than anything else, and it is overseeding every single autumn. Here is the mechanism in one sentence. A lawn is not permanent. Grass plants age and thin out, and every gap that opens is a doorway for a weed. So by spreading fresh seed across your whole lawn each fall, you constantly replace the thinning grass with new, dense growth, and a fully closed canopy gives a dandelion seed nowhere to land, no soil to touch, and no sunlight to germinate in. The tool is simple. A bag of quality grass seed matched to your region, a broadcast spreader, and a fall application at around 3 to 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet onto a lawn you have mowed short and raked for that one job, then watered daily for 2 to 3 weeks. Do that one thing every September, and you choke out dandelions before they ever start, which saves you the $40 to $80 a year. You have been spending on weed killer, and the 8 or 10 Saturdays a season you have been losing to spraying and pulling. So here is which path is yours. If you have just a handful of dandelions in an otherwise good lawn, you are the dandelion weeder and the targeted systemic spray in and out in one evening, done by morning. If your lawn is thin and patchy with weeds creeping in from the edges, you are the mow-high, feed, and overseed plan, building your grass into a wall over one season. And if your lawn is genuinely overrun, more yellow than green, you are the full professional reset, core aeration, plus a spring pre-emergent, plus fall overseeding, and you will watch it come back over a single year. Now, here is the new problem you are about to run straight into, because it always happens. The moment you start overseeding and feeding and watering that lawn into thick green health, you create the perfect conditions for the next invader, and it is not a dandelion. It is moss, or in the warm, wet patches, it is fungus. Those creeping brown or grayish patches that show up exactly because the soil stays moist and the canopy stays dense. It is the price of a thick lawn, and almost nobody warns you about it. So if you are already seeing the start of it, the spongy green carpet in the shady corner, or the first ring of brown that was not there last week, Drop a comment below and just type the word moss or type the word fungus, whichever one you are fighting, so I know which problem is hitting you hardest. The next video breaks down exactly how to kill both of them without wrecking the lawn. You just worked so hard to build the cheap fix and the real fix the same way we did it today. Subscribe so it lands in front of you the moment it goes up, because if you fix the dandelions and miss the moss, you are right back to losing your Saturdays. Get the whole system and you win the yard for good. And let me leave you with the part that ties all of it together, because it is the difference between people who fight this weed forever and people who win it once. The dandelion is not a strong plant. I want to be very clear about that. It looks aggressive because it is bright yellow and it shows up overnight, but it is actually a weak, opportunistic plant that only survives where the grass is already given up. It cannot beat healthy turf in a fair fight. It never could. Every dandelion in your lawn is sitting in a spot where your grass quietly surrendered first, and that is the secret the garden aisle will never sell you, because there is no bottle for it. The bottle treats the symptom, the thick lawn cures the disease. So think about the order of operations one more time, because the order is everything. You decapitate the yellowheads first, today, before they turn to seed, and launch 200 parachutes per flower across your whole yard. You kill the existing taproots second with the right systemic spray in the evening or the forked weeder in soft morning soil. Then you stop fighting the plant and start building the soil, because the soil is the real battlefield. You mow at 3 inches, not 1. You feed in September and again in late spring. You aerate the compaction out of the ground, and you overseed every single fall so the canopy stays closed and the door stays shut. Do those things in that order, and here is what changes. Next spring, you walk out with your coffee, the grass is cool and wet against your bare feet, and you feel good about your lawn for more than 4 seconds. You feel good about it all summer. No yellowheads, no wasted Saturdays. No third trip to the store for another bottle that never worked. Just green, thick, and quiet the way a lawn is supposed to be. That is the whole point. You stop managing dandelions and you start owning your yard, and once you have done it one full season, you will never go back to the spray and pray treadmill again.